Hi everyone, this is Ellen. So I want to give an update. I talked in my last video about having injured my Achilles, or like the insertion where my Achilles inserts into my calcaneus, and that happened because I was not paying attention and I ignored discomfort. It has improved considerably. It's almost completely non-existent. It would be non-existent today had I not jumped the gun and did a little bit of stretching. I wanted to test it because I always want to test. I tested a little bit yesterday, and this morning I can walk on it fine, but this morning when I woke up it was a little stiff again. So I'm gonna wait a little bit before I test. I had forgotten, so I had talked about I had talked about my soleus muscles being really stiff the next morning, and I assumed that was part of the injury too. But I had forgotten that I was experimenting with soleus strength work, soleus isometric strength work. So I was lying down and I bent my legs and I just raised my heels up and squeezed that and held it. And I held it for a minute, and because I want to be building up strength too, and I want to start at the very ground layer. So I'm sort of, as I've been working, identifying soleus stretch progressions, I also want to be identifying soleus strength progressions. So anyway, that's why my calves, and they were both stiff actually. It wasn't just one. So that's why my calves were stiff. I don't think I had injured my actual soleus, just the insertion. I think that's where it was. So now I understand that. I think I personally believe that a lot of what helped my that injury heal more quickly than I think it might have otherwise is because I have a constitutional homeopathy remedy. I've been working with a homeopath for a long time who has very graciously continued working with me through this. So I have a constitutional remedy, and they have you do what they call water dosing, kind of when you take a pellet dose of a remedy, and then if things come up in the meantime, you can what they call water dose. So I was doing that, and I think that helped a lot. Of course, I don't have anything to compare it to in terms of that particular injury. I didn't not do it at the same time I was doing it, so I don't know. But I believe that helped a lot. So anyway, so I also talked about in the last video how I had been doing tall kneeling walks because I wanted to take my lower legs out of the picture to see if I focused on kind of activating and developing my hips and my pelvis, and I'm going to use hips and pelvis interchangeably. My thinking is, in my core too, my thinking is if those are doing the work they're supposed to be doing, then that would mean that my soleus aren't going to have to do so much work. So the theory being that a reason my soleus muscles might be tight is because they're having to take up the slack for other parts of my body, like my hips, like my core, that isn't doing the work. So I came up with tall kneeling walks, which I think is I'm really happy about. I actually think it's a great idea. So it felt really good, and I did 2 times 5 minutes. I did 5 minutes, and it felt so good I did another 5 minutes. I gave myself a little bit of a break and then did another 5 minutes. And so I came back, and this was a couple of days ago, and I thought, well, 2 times 5 minutes felt great. I'll do 1 times 10 minutes. And the environment that I was doing it in wasn't clear. There was stuff in the air, so that may have been a big part of this. But I was, by the end of the 10 minutes, if I tried to talk, I was really winded. It was hard. And I didn't know that until I started talking, which was kind of weird. So I don't know if it's because I can't do, or 1 times 10, doing it all together is too much of a stretch right now, or the end range of the stretch right now, or if it was just the environment, or if there was something else going on. I just don't know. Or I did it too soon. I think I did it so I think I took a day off and then came back the next day. I'd been thinking about doing it 3 times a week, every other day. It's kind of traditional training that you would do. And it's possible that I simply came back too soon. So I don't know the answer. I don't know the reason. The good news is that, sorry for the very loud noise outside. Big truck is going by. So I don't know the reason why it happened, but the good news is that had I pushed myself that far in the past, I would have been laid back, set back for weeks, if not months. And the next day I woke up and I felt okay. The air was clear, so that probably helped. And I felt okay. My legs definitely felt like I had done work, which really surprised me. So it's quite possible that the issue was that I was just working harder than I had in the past and I didn't realize it. So, like I said, I don't know the answer, but it's really good news for me because my body is rebounding. It's still too soon to know. Like, I'm still spending most of my days lying down. It's not like I can just pop up and live a regular life. But this is, to me, going in the right direction. I am having trouble sleeping, and that's a little bit concerning because in the past I had trouble sleeping when I was overdoing. But I'm still feeling like I'm maintaining, and I think if instead of doing every other day 3 times a week, if I scale back to 2 times a week, and knowing me, I'll probably try that 1 times 10 again, but I may have to also scale back to 2 times 5 and see. So the key is my habit is to, I can do this, let me push it a little far. Great, I'm going to push it a little further. And that doesn't work, and certainly not with the foundation of chronic illness that I have. So part of what I'm having to learn is how not to do that and to just trust that if I do what I can do right now, that will lay the foundation for the next thing that I will be able to do. So, so I think that's everything in the update. What I thought I would do is show you the tall kneeling walk, and also I'm also doing balance exercises. There are 3 different exercises that I'll show you, and I'm just doing, like, for each session for each day that I do tall kneeling walk, I'm just doing one of the variations of balance work, or at least that's the plan. I haven't done this enough. So let me show you those 2. So let me do this. See if you can see me. Okay, let's see if I can get this so you can see my face too. Nope, a little bit more. Let's see. Okay, I think that'll work. Okay, I'm a little far away, so I'm going to try to talk a little louder because I don't have a microphone. So tall kneeling walk, and so let me show you what isn't right, and I don't think you'll be able to see the difference between what is right and what isn't right, just because it's really subtle, and I probably don't have the right clothes for you to be able to see it. But what I don't want to be doing is moving from my knees, so like this. And this is, it goes a little quicker, but I notice that I'm also not in control of the movement when I do that. So what I do want to be doing, and the whole point of this is to learn to activate my hips so that they're doing their share of the work. They're doing the work they're meant to do. When a part of our body isn't doing the work they're meant to do, another part of the body has to pick up the slack and do it. And they're not designed to do that, so that's what leads to things like chronic tightness or even injury at some point. That's my understanding. So what I want to do is move from my hip. So let me maybe go towards you. So it's harder to do this too fast. And actually, you can see that when I go backwards, I'm just kind of going backwards. I'm actually not moving from my hips when I go backwards. So that may be good to, at some point, add in backward movement and also move from my hips. But so moving from my hips. And you can see, when I do this, it is kind of subtle, but you can see that there's a little bit of a forward shift in my in my hips when I do this. So here's me. Well, I guess there is a little bit when I move from my knees. Let me see if there's a difference. I guess I can say it feels different. The other thing I'm thinking about is what Lawrence Lindgren talked about, is about moving your belly button, rotating your spine, your torso, to your forward leg. And it's rotation, it's not twist. So in other words, it's not the shoulders going one way and the hips going another way. It's the hips and the shoulders going together. And so the whole spine is moving, as a unit in one direction. According to Lindgren, who's a chiropractor, the spine is not designed to twist, and that's where we maybe can injure ourselves, but it is designed to rotate like this. It's also designed to do this. He shows that in his video too. He has a video about the homolateral and contralateral gaits, and that might be something that, if you're interested in learning about his ideas of running, might be interesting to watch. So you can see I'm a little bit winded just doing that. So now the balance exercises, well, let me just show. So here, so I also want to be kind of tall, and the other challenge is not being rigid. So you want to have good posture, but not tall. And Lindgren also talks about shifting forward with your hips. So I think so that's the cue. So this is the thing about cues. They're really only helping you get an approximation of what the body's supposed to be doing. But if you are not used to moving in a certain way and you've lost access to it and you're not even aware that the body can move in that way, that was the case for me with my hips, then the cues, all we're going to be doing with those cues is approximating a movement, but we're not actually going to be engaging the movement as we should be. So the hips forward is a good cue. So another way that some people teach running is, you stand in a tall posture and you lean forward with your ankles. And then, that leaning forward causes your one leg to move forward, so you're catching your balance, and then that's the running motion. What Lindgren says is stand tall, but then instead of leaning forward at your ankles, shift forward from your hips, so it's almost like a little bit of an arch in the back. When I did the tall kneeling walking, and I started to feel what it felt like to have my hips actually engaged, then that forward lean, or that forward shift of the hips made sense. I'm not sure how active I have to be in that forward lean. I think that's kind of part of what just happens when we're engaging our hips. But, this is a work in process. I'm still learning. I'm still figuring out. And Lindgren, has a lot of knowledge and education and has worked with a lot of runners. So I'm just saying this is my process and my understanding right now. And I'm still sort of learning and trying to find out what's true for my body. So the thing with exercise, it's always about there's this quote-unquote, perfect form, but then there's our bodies. And so what we're trying to do is work out the compensations and move towards that perfect form, but not force our body into that perfect form. We're trying to actually do what's perfect for our body with that perfect form, giving us an idea of what we're shooting for. But what our bodies can do or not do, even when they're not compensated at all, is going to be individual and different. So we'll have differences in how we do the movement. At least that's how I understand it. You don't want to, if you force yourself into an ideal and your body is not able to do that because of compensation, or just your bone joints are different or something like that and you can't actually do that, then to me that's what would lead to injury and less and not as good performance if you're interested in performance. So those are my ideas. Take them or leave them. So anyway, now the balance exercises. So let's see. Can you see me? I will lower that a little bit. Okay, does that work? I can lower it a little bit more. Sorry about this. Okay, I think That's good enough. Okay, so one version of the balance work is it's just bringing one leg forward and then bringing it back. One leg forward. You can see my balance is not very good. And then bring it back. And you can also slow down the motion to to kind of work out the balance point. Slow, they say slow equals smooth and smooth equals fast. So if we go fast, well, we can do it, but it's very easy for our bodies to compensate to do this movement, so bypassing areas of limitation. And if we go slow, it can't really do that. We now are seeing where the limitations are, and we can work to, again, smooth those out. So you can see I have a lot of work to do there. Here's my other one. You can see I'm also engaging my arms and doing the torso rotation. And I'm not sure. What I'm seeing is I'm going out like this, and then I'm coming over like this. And I'm sort of thinking, I'm not sure that's what it's supposed to be. So I haven't figured that out yet. I don't know if it's just that I need more strength in my hips. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just noticing that's what I'm doing. You can see sometimes I'm catching that, catching my, at the end I'm sort of quickly putting my foot down. It's not so obvious this time, but the fact that I'm doing that means I don't have control over this movement. So the more control you have over this movement, which isn't force and that sort of thing, it's just being able to move through the motion and control, but control in this case is not about, clamping down. It's just about having mastery over your body. So that's one version. And then the other version is simply lifting one of your knees up. And the goal is to hold that. So you can see this is really challenging for me. And one of the reasons I want to be doing this is I have decent balance when I stand one leg, but it's not, you can see, not really, that's not bad, but there are people who do this. You can see there's just a little bit of movement in my ankles no matter what. And when I see people demonstrating this online, they are just rock solid through their ankles. So I could use ankle strength. My ankles could probably be built up. But also, I think the idea is that if I improve here, that might also help. Again, it's a work in progress, and I may discover something different down the road, but that's where I am here. So the goal would be to hold this for like 10 seconds up to a minute or something, or do, repeats I don't think would be very, maybe at the beginning repeats would be okay, but you'd still want to hold it for, maybe a 3 count just to get some, balance in there. So I'm playing with it. I haven't figured out exactly what I'll be doing. And then the third one, this is one I found online. It was a video, and I will see if I can find that and post it. And I'll also see if I should be able to find that Lawrence Lindgren one about the contralateral and homolateral gait, where he talks about this running motion, because it's just a really enlightening video for me, so I want to share it with others. You can see I'm winded just from doing this. So now, the final one is you bring your foot forward, and then let me get back just a little bit, and then you just sort of walk it over like this across your midline. And once you see now there's a balance challenge. So this is a great exercise, and then you walk it back. And you can just repeat that for as many, I wouldn't do more than 10, and at the beginning I would maybe start less than 10. But don't listen to me, listen to the people who you're working with who can help you do things. But if you ask me questions, I'll give you my best answer, but I can't tell you what's true for you. So yeah, I just went like that to compensate. So stay in a tall posture. That's really important. But again, not rigid, just nice, tall, and relaxed. So it might be good. I haven't been very conscious and conscientious about starting from that tall posture. So take some time to get sort of like mountain pose, only with your lower legs out of the picture, and get good in that posture, and then do these exercises. So that's the goal. Okay, so in this crawling, I'm not doing it, but this is actually a good reset exercise. There's a guy, Original Strength. I can't remember the person's name, but Original Strength is a website. He does a whole training system based on reset movements, kind of primal movements, the movements we do from the time we're born, and like we roll our head, we lift our head, we do crawling, all the different things we do. And he's got a whole system based on restoring your body that way, it's really cool work. So, and I can put a link to that too. Okay, so that's it. That's what I have to do. I'll see how I feel tomorrow. The schedule is that tomorrow I'll do 2 times 5 minutes, but it may be that it's too soon, and maybe I'll have to even back off to once a week. The key is to start where I am and build up, rather than doing too much and setting myself back and preventing myself from actually being able to make progress. Okay, thanks for listening. I hope there was something useful, helpful here. And remember, I'm just sharing my journey. Anything I say, anything I'm doing, I'm not saying do this, even though sometimes I say if you want to try this. It's really up to you, and especially if you have health or physical body conditions or health issues or anything like that, you want to check with the people who can help you figure out what's best for you and realize your goals, help you get to your goals. Okay, take care. Bye.